I am cold and that hurt like balls. A lot of people want to learn how to do a backflip, but very few actually follow through. The reason for that is because backflip fear is a very real thing. It can be very debilitating and paralyzing, and I'm going to try to show you the method I used to land my first backflip. First things first, if you do have access to a gymnasium or some sort of gymnastics center, then please don't be a hero. There's a lot more safer and better ways you can learn to do a backflip. But if you don't have access to a place like that, then I'm going to try to help you out. I do recommend that you can please do a full cartwheel and that you have somewhat of a basic athletic ability. Besides that, most important thing is we've got to warm up before we start. Put some emphasis on your wrists, your ankles, your shoulders and your back. Because of the method I use, I think those joints and muscle groups need to be thoroughly warmed. So let's get nice and warm. Move a bit closer. Okay, while we're warming up, little side note, everyone's going to progress at their own pace. There's no right or wrong time frame for how long it takes you to learn a backflip. You can learn a backflip in 10 minutes, you can learn it in 10 days, or you can learn it in 10 weeks. The most important thing, the golden rule, is that you stay comfortable and confident. I apologize for the hammering. Right now, you should be warmed up, nice and ready to go. The first thing I'm going to have you do is just a basic cartwheel. Once you've done a couple cartwheels, now we're going to just do the cartwheel again, except we're going to try to jump into it a little bit more. And you can build it up. You can start really slow with a small jump and then get a bit more bigger and bigger. Tiny, that was tiny. And make sure we're pushing the ground away with our hands. Okay, so once you're comfortably jumping into your cartwheel and you got a bit of power with it, the next step is going to be to slowly start turning yourself away from where you're doing your cartwheel. So your head's still going over your shoulder, not backwards, over your shoulder, looking to the side. I'm literally taking half a step and I'm going to jump into the cartwheel. Boom. Okay. We have a little cartwheel where we're just going from a little bit this way, jumping into it. Now the next step, and this is where the golden rule really comes into play, it's very important that you're patient with it. Do not rush it, take it really slow. Like I said, it can take you a whole year. You're going to turn your little sideways cartwheel into a back handspring. You're going to start angling yourself a little bit more away, till eventually you're facing fully this direction. The same thing with your head position. Instead of looking over your shoulder, it's going to go a little bit more up and over your shoulder, up and over your shoulder, till eventually, boom. But like I said, and I can't repeat this enough, do it slowly, please. Be confident, be comfortable, don't rush it, don't die.
I give in to the lesser fight. My body aches to be satisfied. My weakness comes and goes. My weakness comes and goes. I'm reaching out for the easy high. Please fortify this strength of mine.
Little break just to say, it's always important that you have a slight bend in your arms. Don't jump onto locked out arms. Chances are you might mess up the angle a bit and snap it. I've done that before, not with the handsprings, but very, very painful. Let's avoid that. Let's always have a slight bend in the arms and the elbows and get ready to take your body weight. Your hands are always going to follow where your eyes go, so you want to spot your landing to put your hands down. So just keep that in mind, because a lot of people, with their hands, they'll start doing this, but their head keeps going to the side. So you're always going to be going over the side. So as you build it up, you need to change your head position as well as your hands. Now this is the point where you also start conquering the backflip fear. As you invert and you start going more and more over your head, your body's going to get accustomed to going over your head. It's very important that you practice and hammer it over and over again, so that when you eventually do go over your head for a backflip, it's not a new experience for you. There's much less chance of you freaking out because you've done it lots of times. You might have had your hands there to support yourself, but you've still been going over your head.
My weakness comes and goes. My weakness comes and goes.
So now you've gotten to the point where you've basically done a very sloppy back handspring. If that took you a week, well done. If it took you a year, well done, congratulations. If you stuck with it for a full year and you did it, I mean, bloody hell, well done for not quitting. And now that you can do a back handspring, or back handspring, there's sort of two ways to go about turning it into a backflip. The first way definitely requires a lot more athleticism. This is what I did. It's not necessarily the best way because it teaches you bad technique. The way you do it is you slowly over time going to try to take your hands away, and you're going to put more and more power into your backflip, changing the emphasis from jumping backwards onto your hands to jumping slightly more higher and focusing on bringing the knees over. So your hands are still going to be out to your sides and able to reach for the floor if you need to. My hands are going to go back. The emphasis is going to be bringing my knees over and not reaching for the floor. So it looks something like this. So that's one way to go about it. Definitely requires a lot more of explosive ability. The second way is basically just to attempt a backflip now with correct form, and because you built up the back handspring over time, going over your head shouldn't be nearly as scary. You can still take precautions, get a mattress or something if you want to be extra safe. There's two main things we're going to focus on to change our back handspring into a backflip. Number one, instead of jumping backwards, we're going to jump up. The more backwards you jump, the less height you're going to get, and obviously the higher you can jump, the more time you have to rotate around, land on your feet. Number two, we're going to start focusing on tucking, and that's going to help us rotate even faster. In the beginning, you don't have to try to jump straight up. You can jump slightly back as well, because it's going to help initiate the tuck, but over time you want to be able to jump straight up so you can land back on the same spot. We're going to focus on jumping up. Once you reach the apex of our jump, our head goes back, our knees explosively come up to our chest, and we tuck in nice and tight like a ball. Once we see the floor, we can open up and land. Now, I've already used golden rule, platinum. Okay, I'm going to introduce the platinum rule. If there's nothing else you remember from the video, this is what you remember. When you are attempting a backflip, once your feet leave the floor, you do not chicken out, you do not bail out. You are only allowed to open up once you see the floor. That is the platinum rule. If you chicken out and you open up, you will die. You're going to be paralyzed on the floor, and some anacondas are going to come slithering along and eat you whole. You can have commitment issues anywhere else in life, but when it comes to attempting a backflip, 100 times out of 100, we are fully committed. We commit or we die. If you chose life and not death, well done. You either officially landed your first backflip or you attempted your first backflip. You may have landed on your hands and your feet. It's not the end of the world. You can just try again. The most important thing is that backflip fear has been broken. Once you have your first backflip, to turn it into a more polished backflip where you can jump up and down and land on the same spot and tuck nice and quick, that's just going to take a lot of time and effort and practice. Maybe in the future I'll make like a video on like 4 or 5 things to take your backflip to the next level. For now, just keep practicing, trying not to land on your hands. The more you do it, the better you're going to get, and before you know it, you can have nice snappy looking backflips. Hey, thanks for watching. I hope the video helped you. Just remember the golden platinum rule, and yeah, I'm sure you're going to be fine. Cheers.